השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. Lay me down, God, in peace, and raise me up to a world of living. Oh, safe from the storm, in the shelter of your shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim. If I could follow you and know all of your ways and wisdom, oh, you would keep me safe, and I'd always praise your name. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amcha Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Adon Lechol Hashalom V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol leit u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rabbi Yisrael Amcha Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Adon Lechol Hashalom.
To be a sanctuary, sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you. V'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham va'anachnu nevarech ya me'ata ve'ad olam. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Hallelujah.
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 ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה. הללויה. הללויה.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I can hear you behind the mask. I can hear you from wherever you are, far in screens around the world. We are so happy to be together. I have to say it feels particularly sweet to be back because I've been away for several weeks with vacation and time visiting my parents and a wedding. I am so happy to be here and to celebrate Shabbat. To add to our sweetness tonight, we're also going to have an ufruf of Marissa Hochberg and her soon-to-be Mark Rossetti, her husband, and we are also after services going to be doing a naming for someone who's 75. We usually get to do them when at the beginning of life. We also get to do one at a new chapter in life, and that's also really something to celebrate, and we are so grateful for that. And we are also just going to take in the fact that we are in Elul, which is this time of preparation and spiritual cheshbon nefesh, of kind of taking accounting of our time and our year. So that's all the kind of hard work of this time. But right now, let's just go into Shabbat and actually let go of anything that is an expectation of things we need to do or get better at or think about, and just be, take in a little of that joy because we need it for our lives and for this time. I'm Rabbi Angela Buchdahl. I'm grateful to be on the Bima with Cantor Dan Mutlu, Rabbi Rebecca Rosenthal, Rabbi Sarah Berman, with our incredible musical team, some of them up in the balcony now, and grateful to have our guys in the back doing AV and sound and security. And we have our shamashim back. It's really nice to have you as well. Thank you. And most of all, to be with all of you. So wherever you are out there, and thank you. We'll give a wave on JBS and Facebook and live streaming, and many of our friends and here too. So we say Shabbat Shalom. And let's bring in a little bit of extra Shabbat light. And we are so grateful that we're going to be joined, first of all, from afar by Reese Michaels and her family. Can we see you up on the screen? Yay, there you are. Hello. Reese is celebrating her bat mitzvah tomorrow. We are so thrilled for you and so happy to see you with your family. You look beautiful. And you are going to light over there, but we also need to light these candles here. And for that, I'd love to call up Howard and Lisa Hochberg and Francine and Richard Rossetti, who will help lead in our candles here. And please join us in the lighting of the candles.
Baruch ציוונו להדליק נר של Shabbat.
We say Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. And much Mazel Tov. And Reese, we know you're going to be beautiful tomorrow. Mazel Tov and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Adding light and joy, let us bring in Shabbat with a few psalms to get us ready and prepared. We begin with Shir Ladonai on page 4 of your order of service. Please join.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני, אומרו לנו מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני, אומרו כל על מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים.
Zamru Ladonai, you can find it on page 16 in your prayer book or also on your order of service.
זמרו לאדוני, זמרו לאדוני בכינור.
we are ready to greet the Sabbath bride. We turn to L'chad Odi on page 20 and 21, offering verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And as we come to that last one, let us greet that Sabbath bride, if we are able, with our body as well as our voices and spirits, by turning towards the door to usher her in.
Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat nekabel, la 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 l'chad odi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Shabbat nekabel, Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha tishme'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemo tiferet v'nitila. Shabbat, l'chu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat techila. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha, uv'tzola, tochem onei, am segula.
invite us to all remain standing if we're able for our call to worship on page 146.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, la la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומעביר לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני Amari Aravi Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Some weeks we need to be reminded that the prayer that is right before the Shema and the prayer right after the Shema are both about love. So, an English translation of the Vehafta. Love, only love, with all your heart. Love, only love, with all your soul. Listen to the wisdom inside and around you. You will remember as you're walking on the way. Make the world a better place. Children will learn, and their future will be love. Love, only love, with all your heart. Love, only love, with all your soul. Inside and around you, you will remember.
in your home and on your way. Make your life a voice of God. Be a sculptor for the holy. Be a doorway for love. Love, only love with all your heart. Love, only love with all your soul. Listen to the wisdom inside and around you. You will remember. You will remember. You will remember.
That love, only love, is what will save us all. We turn to our redemption prayer, the Mi Chamocha 152.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושי פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושי פלא. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים צליאנו הנו בימינו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai.
Yet we know that redemption is not in every place that needs it. And it's hard to come to this Hashkivenu prayer and not think of the people in Afghanistan who are tragically displaced from their homes, fearful of reprisals and a very uncertain future under fundamentalist rule. I think of women and girls fearing rollbacks on their freedom and their education, and a looming threat of a long civil war. It is hard not to feel despair, to feel like, what can we possibly do? But we can begin by training our eyes to see their pain, not looking away, by opening our hands to the refugees, and tonight, by turning our hearts and our prayers for their shelter and peace. May God offer them a Sukkat Shalom, a shelter of peace and may our prayers bring a little bit of it to them. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Leshalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom.
Mahamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Uleshalom, Uleshalom. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Adonai
We prepare now for Tefillah, the heart of our prayer service, page 155. I invite us to please rise.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Oh, Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Oh, Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VaNorah, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בר גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ולמען אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללו חסנה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue through the Amidah at our own pace, offering the words in your prayer book, or perhaps closing it, offering the words of your heart. We'll continue in silence, and I invite you to either remain standing or be seated, as is your custom, until you complete your prayers.
Our hearts are broken as we witness the devastation in Haiti, first from last week's earthquake, then from the tropical storm, and also from the overall underlying shortage of healthcare workers, passable roads, and political challenges that are facing that country. We pray for all who are suffering in mind, body, and spirit, and we ask God to send complete healing to all who need it. We pray for strength for those who can help, for doctors and other medical professionals, NGOs, aid workers, and all who are able to open their hearts and their wallets. We ask for healing and for God's sheltering presence to help ease so much pain and suffering. As we think of Haiti, we also pray for those who we love and those in our community and who are close to us, who are ill and in need of healing. As I read the names of those in the Central community, I invite you to add your own names as well. We ask for healing for Betty Schuper Kofina Abrams, Kathy Barron, Eileen Berger, Simcha Ben Sarah, Donald Brief, Jerry Calderon, Lou Chen, Arden Donahue, Frank Ebling, Corey Flaum, Jerry Friedman, Susan Friedman, Ashley Goodman, Sarah Greenberg, Zelik Gresser, Howard Hochberg, Eileen Huber, Billy Innerfeld, Alexandra James and the James family, Deborah Jacobson, Ephraim Ben Levy, Erwin Meerkatz, Joan Mountain, Natanya Batsara, Sandy Schuper, Bill Smith, Nathaniel Wiesel, Pam Young, and Jules Spotts.
That's a long list and a lot of pain in the world. Adonai, please help heal them. Adonai, heal them. Adonai, heal them. Adonai, heal them. Please heal them, Adonai. Please heal her. Adonai, heal her. Adonai, heal her. Adonai, heal her. Please heal her. Adonai, heal him. Adonai, heal him. Adonai, heal him. Adonai, heal him. Please heal him. Adonai, heal us. Adonai, heal us. Adonai, heal us. Adonai, please heal us. Please heal us, Adonai.
And even as we hold all of that heaviness, we also bring some joy into Shabbat. This summer, camps around the country pulled off a remarkable feat. They created a bubble of safety for campers to enjoy growth and freedom and friendship. Our movement's camps, including Eisner, Crane Lake, and SciTech, provided space for thousands of campers to be their best selves, to choose kindness, and to live in a Jewish community day in and day out. We are very lucky to have some of those counselors from Crane Lake Camp joining us here today,
Who took care of a lot of our Central kids.
a lot, including our own Jeremy Sipe, our music specialist for LCLJ. So, if you did the heroic work of working at camp this summer, we invite you to please rise. And no, for real, please rise. And we extend our gratitude to you for shaping the next generation of Jewish leaders, including so many from Central Synagogue. Stay rising, please. If you were a camper this summer, or you have been in the past, if you attended and loved camp at some point in your life, or if you wish you could have attended camp.
What if you're a parent of a camper?
A parent of a camper,
Okay.
a grandparent of a camper, we invite you to rise as well. If you are celebrating your bat mitzvah tomorrow, as Reese is, or you love someone who's celebrating a b'nai mitzvah this coming week, we invite you to rise. If you are celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, an upcoming wedding, or other milestone moments, we invite you to please rise. If you moved into college this week, or you moved a child or a loved one into college, or you will soon in the coming weeks, we invite you to rise. And if you're just grateful to be here in person or virtually to celebrate Shabbat with this amazing community, we invite you to rise. If you would like to sway, please ask your neighbor before you sway with them. And either way, please join us in Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. Now it's the best part.
Yes, we invite you to remain standing if you would, and invite Mark and Marissa up for a special blessing.
You guys go there. Hi. So in February 2019, when it was still possible to go places, Marissa and I and Cantor Mutlu took our confirmation kids to Vienna. On one of the bus rides, you said to me, "I went on a date with a really great guy." You told me how sweet and kind he had been during your date, and you talked about all the things that you both love, like your families and doing puzzles. You said, "Maybe we'll get married." And we laughed because it's unusual to know that after only one date. But I think in this case, you know when it's right, because somehow you knew that you would be standing here with this sweet, kind man named Mark, getting ready to celebrate your wedding in just a few weeks. Your love blossomed during the pandemic. You hunkered down together after only a few dates, getting the kind of intense quality time that couples usually only venture into after many months of being together. And you've grown together through Zoom LCLJ taking over your living room, we apologize, to meeting one another's families, to supporting each other in good moments and difficult ones, to adopting your beloved dog, Marshall. You've created a world of joy and outdoor time and love and friendship and family where you both thrive. Marissa, it's been such a blessing to have you as part of the Central community and to watch you lead LCLJ with so much grace and good humor. And we're thrilled to welcome Mark as an honorary member of the LCLJ team, and we hope he will forgive us for the fact that you are never home. And as much as we're blessing you on this bima today, I hope you know that out there, there are so many of your students and their families who are blessing you at home, and that you can feel their joy in your love.
Marissa and Mark, when you stand under the chuppah in just a few weeks with Rabbi Salth, the first blessings that you'll receive once you become husband and wife are the Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings, 7 representing the days of creation, because these blessings focus on how every marriage is like the creation of a whole new world. And you have found that in each other. And the Sheva Brachot describes you as Re'im ha'ahuvim, beloved friends. And we know that when you found your beloved friend, your world was created. These 7 blessings start with thanking God for everything that was ever created, and then human beings, and then the Jewish people and the institution of marriage, until it finally becomes a very specific blessing over the 2 of you under the chuppah. And for all the Gila and Rina and Ditza and Chedva and every other synonym for the word for joy, interestingly, that last blessing says that the joy is not just for the 2 of you, but that it ripples out, and that all the streets of Jerusalem and all of Zion rejoices with you, because every time a new couple stands under the chuppah, it actually brings joy and peace and more love into the whole world. And for here at Central, it feels like all the more so. We rejoice so much in the person who cares for so many of our families, now creating a family of her own. We want to bless you both with our tradition's oldest blessing, the priestly benediction. And I know our community is excited to join in that with you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha ken yehi ratzon.
May God bless you and guard you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God turn
ken yehi ratzon.
May God turn God's face to you and guide you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom ken yehi ratzon.
May God turn God's face to you and grant you shalom, peace.
Amen and
Amen
mazel
and
tov.
mazel tov.
So when we think of New Year's Eve, we think of parties, staying up late, counting down the seconds to midnight. And I don't know about you, but I always think about those really irritating noisemakers that sound something like a cross between a kazoo and a fussy baby pterodactyl. You want a demonstration? I brought one with me. So it sounds like this. More on that later. On Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, things are very different. We attend services, we pray, and while we might go to fun gatherings with family and friends, they're a far cry from the late night bashes of the winter. Rosh Hashanah and the secular New Year both mark the beginning of their respective calendars. And they do share another important similarity. That is, we use both of these times to look back on our year and to look ahead to the new one just beginning. And we look within ourselves, too, and ask, how did we do this past year? Could we have done better? And we begin to find the answers to these questions, and we make resolutions. We try to set out a plan to make a better life, a better year. Now, Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, is not actually called Rosh Hashanah in the Torah. In fact, when God speaks to Moses about this holy day, there's no mention of it as the new year at all. Now, confusingly, the Torah says this holiday occurs on the first day of the 7th month.
And scholars still don't know exactly why this became the Jewish New Year and not Passover, which occurs in Nisan, what the Torah calls the first month. So before we take a look at why, let's go back to those noisemakers we blow on New Year's Eve, and I promise I won't blow it again. When we hear that sound, and especially when we're not expecting it, it can be quite jarring and irritating, especially when you have 3 kids blowing them all around you. But, as evidenced by that, the people blowing it sure are having lots of fun. Well, the Jewish New Year, of course, has its own noisemaker, the shofar, but it evokes something very different from the frivolity and the carefree joy of the fussy baby pterodactyl kazoo. To understand what these feelings are and why, we look back at how the shofar was originally used. Way back in a time before cell phones and internet and PA systems, the shofar was the means of communication, but not a casual correspondence. The shofar was reserved for the most urgent and holy times of the people's lives. One of its earliest functions was to call and gather the troops for battle. Imagine hearing this sound. You're a soldier. You run to grab your weapons and armor, knowing that this could be your last battle. Or you're a parent. You hear the sound and you scramble to find shelter for your children. The immediate sensation following the blast of the shofar must have been prompted by a surge of adrenaline, the activation of the fight or flight response. The shofar called the people into life or death action. And this is exactly what it meant for the people to hear the shofar sounded on the Day of Remembrance on Rosh Hashanah. Back then, the people felt the urgency of the shofar's call because on this day of holiness and remembrance, the stakes were just as high for the people as if they were preparing for battle. Would they do things which would continue them on a path of their own destruction? Or would they see and recognize their flaws and hubris and replace them with better habits to benefit everyone around them? Today, it's a lot harder to hear the call and to feel this urgency because we don't live in a world of shofar calls. We no longer live in a world where everyone accepts that God plays a crucial role in our collective fate. But that doesn't make the sound of the shofar any less urgent. We come here to the sanctuary and watching online because we know the consequences of choosing blessings over curses, life over death. We know that we must use these Elul days leading up to Rosh Hashanah to find true introspection and purpose and to think deeply on what we've been doing. Are we destroying our planet? Or are we reversing the effects of our human industry and overconsumption? Are we widening the rift between privileged and underprivileged? Or will we remember what God warned us so long ago not to forget? The strangers, the orphans, those who are struggling in your midst because you yourselves were in that same position. Will we gather the strength to turn things around? Maybe the answer is in figuring out the conundrum of when this Jewish New Year really ought to occur. On Rosh Hashanah in Tishrei, or during Passover in the so-called first month, Nisan. Turns out we find a breakthrough explanation from the Ramban, a 13th century scholar. He says that the 7th month mentioned in the Torah is only called the 7th because the counting of the months in the Torah is for us, not for God. Here's the explanation. We were freed from a life of slavery in Egypt in what the Torah calls the first month. And we celebrate our freedom every year during Passover in Nisan. This is the first month for us as a free people. So when we learn that the Day of Remembrance happens in the 7th month, it means that it's the 7th month for us after becoming free. And it also means that these two events, the New Year and our freedom from slavery, are linked together in holiness. What did God do on the 7th day? God rested after creating the world. What did the Israelites do in the 7th month after their liberation? They celebrated the creation of the world during the first day of remembrance. When we hear the call of the shofar, we're reminded that our actions are not frivolous things. Rather, they pave the ways of two possible outcomes: our destruction or our flourishing. When we hear the shofar, let us be stirred to action. Let's look deeply within ourselves. Let's think hard about what we've been doing, and let's make those resolutions together so that we can not only repair what we have damaged and hurt, but also build a world where we can all live in blessing. Tekiah.
We continue our service with our closing prayers. Aleinu is on page 282. If you are able, we invite you to rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Please be seated.
ויתקדש שמי רבה.
There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, liberal Jews and our friends around the world lost a bright light. Rabbi Richard Hirsch died a week shy of his 95th birthday. Though you may not know his name, Rabbi Hirsch blazed the paths that define our Judaism today. He called out injustice in our country and in the world. He was a vocal ally to leaders in the African American community in the civil rights era. He made Tikkun Olam, the repair of the world, a central tenet of our movement. He brought Zionism into the Reform mainstream and forged ties that keep American Jews connected to Israel today. As a community, we mourn Rabbi Hirsch's passing and share our gratitude for his life with his family, including his son, our colleague, Rabbi Ami Hirsch of Stephen Wise Free Synagogue on the Upper West Side. Rabbi Hirsch's light continues to shine ever brightly. It is hard to find the light in the loss of life in Haiti and in Afghanistan this week. May the memories of those who died be a blessing for the loved ones they leave behind. This week, our Central Synagogue community mourns the recent passing of Robert Blum, husband of Gail, father of Andrew and Evan, Susan Dorfman, Barbara Goldberg, mother of Cammie Reese, Marnie Gutkin, Jeffrey Goldberg, significant other of Stephen Plotkin, and sister of Alice Wolfson. Michael B. Gordon, husband of Sonia, father of Sam, Katie, Julia Tishman, and brother of Rich. Carol Phillips Green, mother of Kathy, Douglas, and Janet. Rabbi Richard Hirsch. Lawrence Kahn. Morgan L. Miller, husband of Marjorie and father of Betsy, Bob, Amy, and Cindy. Rita Shane Richmond, mother of Great Neck and Carol. Herbert S. Rosen, husband of Gail. Cynthia Rosberg, aunt of Stephen Greenberg. And Alvin Zapersky, father of Larry, Bob, and Ben. In our community, we also mark the passing of those who died in service to this country and those who were slain in mass shootings in this country. We mourn these national tragedies. Thank goodness there are no names to report from our armed services list, but standing in for the too many victims of mass shootings this week, we have Mauro Rodriguez, age 26, of San Antonio, Texas. Axel Trejos, age 20, of Germantown, Maryland. And Perseus David May, age 10, of Youngstown, Ohio. We remember those who died in this season in years past, whose yahrzeits we commemorate this Shabbat. Michael Albert, Harry Barnett, Louis Berg, Bernard Berglass, Jacob Berkowitz, Audrey Block, Betty Bloomberg, Joseph Blumenfeld, Robert Bondi, Betty Jean Brown, Jacob Burdow, Pincus Cashman, Jameson Chasson, Aurora Christidis, Ethel Cohen, Vadi Cohen, Tanya Corton, Raymond Dahl, Jill Edelson, Irving Fielden, Jay Fishman, Morton Frank, Emmanuel Freeman, Betty Gallant, Sylvia Gardner, Marvin Garrell, Sarah Gitson, Samuel Goldberg, Bertha Goldenberg, Leon Golub, Stephen Grob, David Hecht, Stanley B. Hendler, Ann Indersky, Marcus Kaftal, Martin Kaplan, Seymour Katz, Hannah Klein, Leo Colin, Sadie Korn, Ann Lentz, John Leonard, William Lease, Norman Light, Samuel Lindenbaum, Suzanne Liss, Rhoda Lewick, Mary Manville, Judith March, Beatrice Mellitz, Leonard Meyer, Herb Mirsky, Arnold Mitchell, Martha Bennett Moore, Sabina Neiman, Andrew Nelson, Lillian Shapiro Norek, Bernard H. Payawansky, Frida Pollock, Scotty Rankin, Ethel Rhine, Dinah Resnick, Mildred Roller, Doris Gorin Ronald, Marty Rosenblum, George Rosenfeld, Harry Roth, Gertrude Rubin, Riley Sandler, Grace Schiffman, Samuel Schlanger, Sue Smilo, Mignon Smith, Vivian Spodek, George Stangler, Harold Starkman, Joseph Stein, Nancy Stitzer, Leo Swerdlick, Robert Swig, Abraham Tabak, Armida Trentalancia, Cecil Wagstaff, Reuben Wallach, David Warner, Richard Weil, Rose Weisvogel, and David Wolfberg. I invite you to rise if you are able, if you are marking the first week of mourning, Shiva. And if you're marking the first month of mourning, Shloshim. If you are marking the first year of mourning, Shana. If you are marking the anniversary of a loss, Yartzeit. Now together, as one community united in love and loss, we all rise if we are able and recite together the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam l'mei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
Please be seated.
I would stay standing. So
Stay
I'm just going to
standing.
say a few announcements
all
and then
stay
closing
standing.
song and Kiddush.
We're so happy that so many of you have joined us this evening in person and so many more of you joining us virtually, and we hope you will continue to join us for future Shabbat services. As always, you can join through our live stream, our Facebook Live, our YouTube channel, a local JBS station. I'm sure we'll find many, many more platforms to
That's
come.
right. There we go.
If you haven't already started joining us for our weekly High Holy Days boot camp, hosted by our friend and congregant Abby Pogribin, it's not too late to join us. I invite you to watch this Tuesday on our Facebook Live page at 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. We also have coming up next week, a week from tomorrow, the beginning of our High Holy Day season in earnest. That evening we celebrate Slichot, the beginning of the High Holy Days, kicking off with a learning session with the MacArthur genius, friend of our congregation and friend of Rabbi Bookdahl, Liz Lerman, leading us in a study and moving session together. That will be on August 28th, Saturday, August 28th, from 8 to 9 p.m., followed by our Slichot services at 9:15.
That's live and virtual. You can
is-
join either way, right?
It is a virtual program, but if you're coming to the service, we will have a space for you to watch right here at Central.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that you will join us for our Mishkan service tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. with
Me
and
And the other
Rabbi
Dan.
Dan.
the other Dan. It's the
Dan and
Dans
Dan.
again. Yeah.
It's the Dan Show. We hope you will join us. We welcome on Saturday mornings members and non-members to join us for those services. To join us in person, you will need to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID PCR test from within 72 hours of the service. Mishkan services can also be viewed virtually on any of our platforms. We are currently recruiting shamashim, our volunteer ushers, for regular Friday night services and for the High Holy Days. If you have any questions about what that experience is like, we are grateful to and hope you will ask our shamashim this evening, Barbara, Paula, and Gail, as you leave tonight. We always encourage you to check Central's website for all of our upcoming programs and opportunities to gather together both virtually and in person. And that is also where you will find our High Holy Day information. We love you all. We are so grateful that you have showed up in person tonight and masked and joined us. However, we will not be able to come out to greet you after services this evening. It is not a sign of our affection. It is a sign of our abundance of caution. And now, please join us in the Kiddush, which can be found on page 5 in the Siddur, in the prayer book.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. You ready? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We're going to close with Adon Olam on page 321. If you are part of our small group that will be joining for the naming, I'll invite you to come up to the bima when services are over. Shabbat Shalom. It was really very joyful to be with all of you. Adon Olam asher malach v'terem kol yitzir nivra le'et na'asa b'chefso kol Asai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hove ve'hu yeh b'tifara Adon olam asher malach v'terem kol yitzir nivra Asai melech shebo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hove ve'hu yeh b'tifara ve'hu echad ve'en sheni lehamshilo lehachbira והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצורכם לי בעין שרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי ונת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו אבקין רוחי ואת ישר מהעירה ועם רוחי גמייתי אדוני לי ולא ירא בידו אבקין רוחי ואת ישר מהעירה ועם רוחי גמייתי אדוני לי ולא ירא אדוני לי ולא ירא אדוני לי ולא Shabbat Shalom, everyone.